Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, the Innate Express podcast. And we're showcasing awesome students. And today we have Zach. And I want to introduce him. I saw him interviewing one of my close friends, Amy Burke, and he impressed me. And he's over in Europe. And I want to welcome him. Hi, Zach.
Hi, it's Zarak.
My mistake. Oh, my goodness. I apologize.
It's all right. It's a common mistake, but I answered anything. I got called worse at home, so don't worry about it.
Well, now I made my mistake once, and we're not making it again.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, how you got to chiropractic. And where are you now? You're in school in Europe now, in chiropractic school?
I study at the Barcelona College of Chiropractic. So I just entered clinic. So finally I'm starting to see patients. Over here we have a 5-year program. So it's 3 years of pure theory and just doing exams. So now for the last 2 months I've been doing the actual hands-on stuff and being with some patients and doing talks outside the school and doing some real chiropractor stuff at last.
Yeah. That is, once you start getting your hands on people and getting in clinic, all that work from the past couple of years just seems to fade away, right?
Yeah.
With the stress of it. And then you get your hands on people and start serving. So you're doing talks in the community too, like in like health talks and talking about chiropractic. Is that right?
I do a lot of talks and I'll try and get out to some teams. I do a lot of talks at my house. So I basically have mandatory health talks before I see someone at the BCC clinic. I make sure that they come to my place and I do like a half an hour presentation. And then hopefully they then refer people, and it's usually all internal referrals, and then that's how I've built up. But it's only been a couple of weeks, so I'm probably going to have to find other ways to do it. But for the first month and a half, it's been doing well.
Good for you. I mean, in starting in practice too, doing the talk and educating is fantastic. There's so many chiropractors that don't do it. It is such a valuable tool. I've been doing it for 15 years, and I love doing them. Sometimes I do them 3 times a week. And, good for you. That's fantastic to start off your student career doing your talks that way. Good for you. And you'll see it'll evolve and grow. Good for you. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, the way we have it over here, you have your 3 years, and then you'll have OSCE to enter the clinic. Now, if you to enter the clinic, you can enter the clinic during the summer, because I know that you have the trimester system. Over here we'll have 2 semesters and then we have summers off. That's why it takes a little bit longer. Now, if you haven't passed all the stuff in 3rd year to progress to 4th year, you can't enter clinic early in the summer. So I had other exams that I had to pass before I could enter the clinic. So during the summer, while I'm studying to repeat some exams, I was doing talks every week and trying to build up a backlog so that by the time I entered that I would be raring to go. I'd have some people waiting.
Good for you. I mean, to hear that, that's why we're I call it an inner view. Okay. Getting an inner view of how you work, how you're functioning. And, that is so impressive. And it's so good because I want other students to hear this too. And they do. Because giving someone else the confidence to say, okay, I'm a student, I do know what chiropractic is, I know how to express it, I know how to teach it. Because clinic experience is, for me, it was wonderful. I enjoyed every minute of it. It is hard work because you have to get new people and you've never had to do that before. And especially since we're giving them the ethereal, they're giving them information that they've never heard before. And you've got to get them on the table and trust you with these 2 hands and serve them chiropractic. Fantastic. So tell me about you in chiropractic. How did you get here? What brought you to chiropractic? Has it changed your life? How did it touch you?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll keep it short.
Okay.
I knew from a really young age that I had to be self-employed because I'm a little bit ADD.
Well, don't claim a disease for yourself, right?
I know that's the allopathic approach, isn't it? I'm easily distracted and I like to do things my own way. And I went through a load of jobs, and actually the tipping point was being sacked from Domino's Pizza. I got fired from being a supervisor in Domino's, and I remember thinking I need to be self-employed, but I don't know which avenue to go down. And at the time I was about 19 at this stage. And my mom's a nurse in accident and emergency. So when the people go in straight from the ambulance, my mom's the first person that they'll have contact with. So she's always lifting people, you know, out of the beds. And she actually ended up having a herniated disc. It was like at C5, she had a herniated disc. And that would cause these awful, like, blackout migraines, the kind of migraines you can't do anything. You need to go and lie in a dark room. And so I'm seeing this happen, and I see her going from having a lot of vitality, she's working hard, to being off work and on all kinds of these pharmaceutical drugs. And you're 19, like, so that's the age, you know, you're starting to bring girls home, you want to introduce them to your parents. And I remember bringing a girl home once to say hi, and mum was on the sofa, not a drink in her, but you would have thought she'd had 2 bottles of wine.
Sure.
From the just grenade of chemicals that the pharmaceutical drugs were putting her through. And at the time, my dad's the manager of a leisure center, like a sports center. And this guy just showed up one day and he's like, hey, I'm a chiropractor. Do you have any room that I could rent? And my dad's like, well, not really, but we have like a oversized kind of cleaning cupboard, basically a glorified cupboard. And maybe if we emptied everything out of that and chucked it out and we gave it a lick of paint, you could maybe have room in there enough for 1 table. So they did it, and at the end of the month, my dad said, like, okay, I'll charge you like €200 a month. Well, pounds it would be because I'm from Northern Ireland. And the guy's response was, oh, like, that's really cheap. That's much cheaper than I would have got anywhere else. Please bring your family. You know, I want to say thank you. So bring these guys. And just by luck, I went and I saw it. And I saw my mum in the space of a week or two go from being on pills and lying on the sofa and slurring her words and not able to concentrate, not able to work, to back to work, back with vitality. And that's when it kind of switched me on to it. And I thought, okay, this is something that I want to get on board with. I went and I shadowed him. His name was James O'Malley. He doesn't practice in Northern Ireland anymore. I think he went to England. And whenever he left, I landed a job as a CA in my town, and I was a CA for 4 years. And during the course of the 4 years, I was working as a CA, and I did personal training. I had a personal training business, and I just saved up enough. And when I could pay the first couple of years of college, then I came straight here.
Wow. And the lesson from that is, you don't know how far-reaching the things you think, say, or do can change the lives of millions of people tomorrow. You're the testament of that. That one guy, you know, finding his small space changed your life, your mom's life, maybe thousands of people. And same with you. You're doing that right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it was purely by chance. And I was in the right place at the right time. And then whenever I was a CA, I was going to all the CA kind of conferences in Northern Ireland, and it's at those conferences that I met Marie McElhinney, who's a good mentor of mine, and she was the one that brought me to BCC. I was looking at other colleges. I had no interest in learning Spanish or anything like that, and she said, no, I think you'd really be suited well to the program of study that we have going over here. Come check it out. I went to Cairo, Europe, which I would really suggest to anyone who's a CA or looking to go to any college, go there and get the juice, you know. And I went to Cairo, Europe, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm interested in this approach of doing chiropractic, and went and had my interview with the BCC, and then I was hell-bent on going there. But it took 4 years before I enrolled.
Was that to learn Spanish, or what was just making your decision?
It was basically, I had the job. I did another degree before. I did a degree in sports coaching, and I wanted to see that through. I wanted to finish it. And basically just to save money, I was working and throwing everything I could into the bank. And then when I had enough, I came here. But I think it was good to have that time to kind of grow in maturity. I see some of the guys that come into first year now, 19, 20 years of age. I was 23 when I arrived, and I'm glad that I had that time to mature, because I probably wouldn't have been able to keep up with the pace of the studies if I hadn't waited. So everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. I just got back. I just spoke to a group of chiropractors in Mexico City. And, you know, I was thinking about the school in Barcelona. I do my innate adjusting seminar I'm bringing to South America and Mexico. And, you know, They're just amazing groups down there. And I thought about what happens if, in Europe, if someone wants to come to the Barcelona school, is it taught in Spanish, right?
So the way we have it here, we're the first bilingual chiropractic college.
Mm.
So you're basically expected by the end of it to be able to do it in English and Spanish to some level. Your first year, let's say you and I are in the same class, you only speak Spanish and I only speak English. Let's say the class is in English. Well, I'm just listening to it in my mother tongue. You will have a headset on, and at the back of the room, there's translators that are telling you what the teacher's saying. Yeah. So you got that for your first year, and you've got lessons on the side, to help you with your Spanish or help you with your English. By second year, most of the classes will be in Spanish, but you're still being helped. You can still go to the classes. They'll give you a little bit of leeway. From third year, fourth year, you're kind of expected to do it on your own.
Well, good for you. I mean, learning a language and going to school, taking a full load in chiropractic school, I have to say, it's very impressive.
I say speak Spanish now, but I use that term loosely. I speak Spanish, but I speak, this is what I tell my patients. I'm like, you hablo español como uno guiri. Guiri's like a derogatory name for tourist over here in Spain. I'm like, yeah, I speak Spanish, but I'm like a tourist on the street, Okay. But I think if you're speaking with authenticity and you're passionate about it, man, I've done some talks here where people showed up and I'm like, okay, nobody here speaks English. This has to be done in Spanish. And even though it's rocky and sometimes they are kind of looking at you like, well, what the hell is this guy saying? If you're speaking from the heart and they can see that you're authentic and you're passionate about what you're saying, they're very forgiving. I don't think they mind at all.
You said a big thing just now. Really, people feel your energy. They feel your passion. Like I just said, I was in Mexico this weekend and we were working with a translator, the whole crowd, hundreds of people there. And I thought, how is this going to translate? Some of the things we're talking about is spiritual stuff, D.D. Palmer, chiropractic. And the translator is going to have a tough time. But it was the passion that people said they felt so much through that passion. And that's in practice too. They want what you have. When they feel that, they're not going to get chiropractic. They're not going to understand the subluxation immediately. They want to see, wow, I want what he's got, right? Because everything else is making them sicker, like you were talking about your mom. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, that they get the message. When you go to Chiro Europe, basically, if there's 50 or more participants in a certain language, then they will pay for translators. So, you've got the French, German, Spanish people, particularly with the French, sometimes they'll have translations, sometimes not. And they're there in very strong, French accents, and maybe they don't understand 100% of everything that's going on. But man, they love it, and they keep going back to keep getting access to that information and that passion.
Awesome.
And if they get the translation, that's just a bonus. So yeah, I think people get too in their head with, and I was going to touch on this earlier, people get paralysis by analysis and they think that everything has to be perfect. I'm grateful for my time at BCC, because now I'm like, okay, done is better than perfect. So I could wait until I'm completely 100% fluent in Spanish before I start doing talks to Spanish people. Or I can just say, look, I speak Spanish like a tourist. You're going to get the point anyway. That's and right. Now I have some patients. I have a patient in yesterday. She's had 2 strokes, and to save her life, they had to remove like half of her skull. Yeah, so she's missing half her head. Wow. And she doesn't speak English. And you can, as you can imagine, that's quite a complicated case, right?
Yeah.
But when I speak
right there. It's about the top of the list of complication. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, she's in the wheelchair and we're getting her a little bit of movement bit by bit, and she doesn't speak any English, and sometimes the Spanish is so rough, but she gets it and she keeps coming back and she's seeing the results.
Because she sees it in your heart. She knows, she can feel it coming from you. That's the most important thing. Good for you. You're saving her life. You're changing her life, and then her entire family's life. Right?
She came in yesterday, and I'm like, well, Anna, ¿cómo estás? And she's like, oh, tengo duele. And she's saying, my shoulder's in pain. My shoulder's in pain all the time. After you adjust me, I'm in pain for 4 days. And I'm like, well, whenever you first came, you were paralyzed on the left.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't feel anything. I've never been paralyzed, but I would imagine if I'm paralyzed and then I have some pain in my foot, it's probably a big deal, right?
Big
And
deal. Yeah.
and she doesn't understand whenever I'm getting excited with her, and I'm like, you don't understand that you felt nothing on the left, and now you're feeling pain. Like, this is great.
Yeah. That's it's like that in practice too. Sometimes people just want to complain, but you really just saved her life. Yeah. She went from paralyzed to feeling, and then she's going to get out of that wheelchair one day.
Yeah, bit by bit. I'm going to be behind it. Like, get up. We don't need this anymore.
So where do you see yourself, in chiropractic when you're graduating? You stay in Spain? Where are you going to go?
I graduate. I have 2 years to go. I hope, if they let me out. It could be longer, but I aim to be out in 2 years. And then I have a job for 1 year in the Netherlands. I'm going to work for Kerry Sigafus for 1 year.
Oh yeah, good.
So I have a job already secured for 1 year. And then he said when he offered me the job, he's like, right, you're not supposed to be an associate. So I'm going to come, you work for me for a year, and then I kick you out and you need to go open a practice. Where I would do that, I don't know. It could be back in Northern Ireland. It could be here in Spain. The idea of going to South America actually intrigues me a little bit. Maybe Mexico, somewhere like this.
I've got great connections in Mexico. I tell you, it changed my life. I had an amazing experience. The Mexican chiropractors are absolutely fantastic. The students in the university there, it was just so much love. I adjusted the entire crowd. It was hundreds of people. And, I spoke at their conference. Principled chiropractic is so alive and well there. It's just amazing. It truly is. So they warmed my heart. If you go down there, I have great connections for you. Even going to visit, it's just an amazing, amazing experience.
And they get it. If you have someone there and you get them results, they don't just keep it to themselves. If they're feeling better and they like it, they tell the mom, the grandmother, the auntie, the uncle. They bring in all the kids. Like, they're
Right.
very family orientated and they want to share.
That's right. Absolutely right. Well, any words of wisdom you want to share with students? Because I'm going to send you this in Spain, so you can share it out there, and I'm going to share it with the students with all the colleges here. Anything you want to share with students?
Well, a good bit of advice that Kerry actually gave me is, he said, okay, student clinic is a very safe environment. It's safe. So now is the time that you can not be held back and you can make mistakes. The mistakes that you're going to make, you make it in student clinic. So go and do talks and make mistakes and use that as reference experience. Like, okay, I could have done that better. I need to communicate. Like, if you have really bad communication skills, this is the time to improve it, which means when you leave that you have those skills. Same with adjusting. Don't just do adjustments that you're comfortable with and that now is the time that you want to play with, okay, I'm going to do only seated cervical today, or I'm going to do Gonstead knee chest today, or maybe you want to try a little bit of SOT protocol, or don't just stick to Thompson because it's the only thing that you know, or diversify because it's the only thing that you know. Now is the time to be uncomfortable and try new things, see what you like, see what you don't like, and use that as the reference experience. So that's something that I've been trying to do these last few weeks. Just kind of get that perfectionism out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
They say that perfectionism is actually the lowest standard because it doesn't actually get done.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they have high standards, but really they have the lowest standard because nothing actually ever gets done.
And they're also really imperfectionists because they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for imperfection and looking for everything that's wrong usually. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's great input. Kerry Sigafus, his father was my mentor from about 2004 until the day he passed away. So he was my mentor for a long time, and that was very good input he gave you. That's fantastic.
Were you on the calls?
Oh yeah, all the calls, did all the gatherings,
nice.
and for a long time.
Yeah, I get a new call every week. I'm on Sigafus Weekly, so I get the new call every week. So I'm now listening to the calls that you were on. That's pretty cool.
We sent us CDs. I have hundreds of those of Sig and all that. We gained so much, and part of the commitment of raising up students, teaching them, giving them a voice. Even my own seminar, the Innate Adjusting, is a commitment to our mentors that came before us to share the wisdom that they gave us, because they're not gone if we still carry on their legacies. So absolutely. I'm so happy to hear that.
You're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, our mentors are everything. My mentors, you know, Arno Bernier, Jim Sigafus, Pasquale Sarasoli, Clarence Jensen, you know, he was at Clearview with BJ and taught me toggle, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a blessing to receive from them and then be able to give their gifts that they gave us. So
yeah, and it's when you speak to these guys that they're authentic and they have that certainty in what they're doing, regardless of what technique. That's why I love, I mean, it's good to know a couple of different techniques, but I really love speaking to the extremists, regardless of what the technique is, whether it's Gonstead or HIO, or even things like AK or functional neurology. I love speaking to the guys that are extremists, because when they look you in the eye, they have that certainty, you know, in what it is that they're doing. And I love that.
And that follows through in practice.
Jim Sigafus definitely had that. Yeah, and the patients can feel it. You know, whenever someone, if you're at a seminar or whatever, you know, we're going to a lot of adjusting seminars. I do a lot of MLS. I've been to syntropy seminars. Whenever someone touches your neck, you already know if they're certain about what they're doing, or whether they're like, oh, I'm unsure, like, am I going to hurt the person, you know?
I was on staff with Arno for over 12 years, and I'm so happy that you're getting to MLS. I'd like to come out to Europe sometime too. I'm excited for you, Zarak. I'm really excited. I could feel your passion through the internet, across the Atlantic Ocean, right into my little computer here in Florida. And, you know, you're infectious. So I can really see that energy traveling through the rest of your life, and you're going to have a great deal of success. I'm proud of you already, and I'm glad we're friends now.
Thank you, bro. I hope to live up to that introduction.
You already are, okay? You already are. Well, my friend, it was great having you. Anything else you want to share? And we can end this right now. And, you know, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in.
Well, pretty much my thoughts from today, just try not to suffer too much from paralysis by analysis. Like, just do it and get that reference experience. And also, whenever you're in student clinic, I'm seeing this now with people that are in my class and such. Just treat student clinic as if it was your clinic. So don't expect, you know, the CAs to hand you patients. Like, take the responsibility upon yourself to go out and start doing it. Because when you open a clinic, I've been a CA, and there's not going to be anyone there saying, oh, you just opened your practice. Okay, I'm going to transfer you some patients.
Right.
You know, I'm seeing that a lot of people are running around like, oh, you know, transferring me this patient, that patient, getting onto the CAs because they haven't got enough people. It's not the CA's job to go out and find you patients. Like, if they throw you 3 or 4, then that's fantastic. But go out and get into the habit of generating your own patient base.
It's going to be the best for you the rest of your life. I'll just give a little bit of my clinic experience. We were in the accreditation issue with Life University at the time, so I lost all my people in clinic, had to start over again. And when you see, we had to do 250 adjustments, and then I think 25 exams. And I thought, okay, 250, that's going to be easy. I'll get exams and get all the new people. All I thought about was getting newer people. And I graduated with over almost 500 adjustments because I just started giving them all away. I just started giving them away. I didn't need any more. I had about 45 exams that I had completed. My x-rays was way over because I focused on those ones. If they're smaller numbers, they're obviously somehow they're going to be harder to get. So I focused on what I thought would be harder, and it just got easier and easier. And now, I mean, every month in my office for 15 years, you know, I average between about 65 and 75 new people, new families per month without having to do hard work. They already know people start coming in. I expect it. So when we have that expectation in our mind, the universe will start creating it for us.
Yeah.
So
once you have the first 100, then you can sleep at night a little bit. You know, they kind of look after you a little bit. They're like your fan base. They're going to start referring, and then if you want, you just build up and up in there until you're comfortable with the amount that you have.
Zarak, thank you again. I really appreciate you. I feel like we're brothers already. Okay.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I want to thank everybody for joining in. Leave comments. Give us some feedback. Share this. Join our groups, and God bless you. I love you, and keep serving.
Thank you.